Welcome. Thank you for being with us today. And I'm excited because this is the second rendezvous. And today we are specifically talking about material speaks and we listen. So I invite you to explore a creative process that's all about trusting your intuition and truly respecting the materials you work with. So what if the material itself was a true starting point of design? Have you ever thought that maybe the material itself was a true starting point for the design? So when we pause and listen to what the material wants to become, something amazing happens. And so the design reveals itself naturally, automatically, and full of life. And this is this philosophy where texture, imperfection, and transformation take center stage. And again, this really is possible thanks to the power of craftsmanship. So if you joined me last month, sorry, you might remember that I said my story was also your story, because I started my career as an interior designer, and over time, my love for craftsmanship and materials and how the materials can transform became a bigger and bigger part of my creative process. So it's something that has shaped the way I approach design. And I cannot wait to dive into this together with you today. So the material and material transformation, again, it really turns into a passion. And it is the reason that at some point I made the shift from running my own interior design firm. And eventually I closed this business and I started a new business. The name was SWADOH. And now SWADOH is servicing the design industry. And this is a place, sorry, where innovation meets tradition and creativity blends with craftsmanship to create moments of awe. And I realized that my true passion lies in the deep connection between craftsmanship and design. That's what inspired me to focus on bringing this incredible French artisans' work to a broader audience. So as a reminder, at SWADOH, we collaborate exclusively with design professionals because we believe that it's your insight and creative vision combined with the skills of talented artisans that transform ideas into something truly meaningful and beautifully crafted. So years ago, I walked into Morgan Barrichel's Screw Studio. The person on the right here, that's Morgan, and she's a very accomplished woman artist. And after reading about her work in a French book called The New Artisan, I was so captivated by her approach to material that I really felt compelled to connect with her and ask if we could simply meet. I set out to learn about her process, her techniques, and the detail of her craft. But what I found was far more than I expected, an entire world of thought, intention, and beauty. And that totally reshaped how I now see my work. It did not just influence my work, it really changed how I see things and shaped the direction of my career. When I first touched the material, I did not know exactly what I would do with it, but I felt totally inspired. And there was something about the luminosity of the material itself, the way it shimmered and changed with light. And it was like it has a life on its own, truly unique and impressive. So I remember collecting several samples, touching them, twisting them, holding them to the light, and see how they reacted. And it was really a revelation. And I can still picture myself, I was visiting France and I went back to my parents' place and I just spread all the samples in front of them. And I was really filled with excitement. And I told my parents, well, I'm going to start a new business, one that's all about materials and materials transformation in design. And that was the beginning of SWADOH. So now let's go back to Morgan and my first visit with her. And when I saw Morgan's hand-woven material, I was blown away. There was something in the way they caught the light, luminous, almost like they were glowing from within, quietly radiant, and they had kind of an inner life. And as I looked closer, I noticed how vibrant they were, not just in color or texture, but really in spirit. And each weave had movement, rhythm, a pulse. You could sense the hand behind it, really intentional, steady, and intuitive. And really, it struck me. These materials are alive. You know, look, don't you think when you look at these, beautiful movements, they breathe, they respond, they hold warmth, texture, and time, and there is a kind of soul in them. Something you cannot manufacture. There is no way a machine can reproduce this thing. This is really special and unique. And this is the connection with the hand that makes the whole difference. You sense it immediately. It's in the way they has to be touched, lived with, and experienced. So that's when I knew that this was not just another nice textile coming out of a loom. It was really a philosophy woven into form, and really triggered me. And that was again the spark that led to the creation of SWADOH. And I saw so much beauty coming out of a loom, touching the material, really gave me this inspiration. And what if the material was a starting point of my design process? So I really, touching the material and playing with it really gave me this inspiration. So it was really a luminous, vibrant, alive. It shimmered softly, held a quiet energy, and responded to every shift in light and movement. I could not stop running my finger over it and twisting it, holding up to see how it moved and how it breathed. So I know that all interior designer and also many creative have a material library. And I'm sure that you do too. I mean, a lot of creative have their little treasure box or library, and it's very important. And it's so personal. It tells a lot about you. It's not just a collection of sample. A material library is a source of inspiration, a hand-on archive of texture, colors, and possibilities. It's really your voice, and it's where idea begins to take shape. So imagine making, just walking into your material library, not with a clear vision of a finished product, but with an open mind and a simple question: what does this material want to become? And you're not forcing an idea into it, you're letting the material speak. You're letting the material guide you. This is not just about design, it's about creating with a sense of presence, a sense of listening. Because when the material takes the lead, something magical happens. The design reveals itself. So, what does this want to become? Listen to the material. And listen here is not it's not mystical. It's about really engaging with its physical properties. How it reacts really becomes the design language. And that's, for instance, what happened with the Selene collection. It has been the foundation, the moment SWADOH came to life. You might know that historically, SWADOH started with lighting. We have evolved really a lot lately, and we'll discuss that after. But so let's go back to what we were saying. Let's the material take the lead. Touch, listen. It's not about controlling the outcome of a design. It's about being present, about co-creating with something that already holds meaning. Because when the material takes the lead, the design reveals itself, not the concept, not the sketch, and not the trends you're trying to capture. Just the material, its texture, its weight, and its color. The way it speaks when you hold it in your hand. So I don't know if some of you have experience already with a woven experience. I did not before meeting Morgan. I learned a lot. And so really would love to hear after this presentation if you had experience, because it was a new world to me. And it's interesting to see how everything reacts on a loom. So look at the drawing on the side. it should help you a little bit to discover that the warp is vertical and the weft is the horizontal thread. So we're going to look at this little movie, which is extremely inspiring. And you can see that some yarn resist tight tension while other welcome the tension. I think it's really fascinating to see the whole process. There are subtle tension shifts in the warp and the weft. And Morgan embraces this philosophy. She becomes a collaborator with the material and not a controller. And this is really what I love. This approach has been incredibly inspiring for me. And it really influenced the way I design now. Look at that. You never know what comes out of the loom. It's quite intriguing. You can see that this is beautiful outside and inside, and it's really alive. I don't know. I mean, just I really would love to hear your thought after. Just very unique and special. And you can see that definitely no way you can control that onto a machine. It cannot be machine made. Only a hand can come to this level of beauty, craftsmanship, and magic. Look at this is another picture here that I love to share because you can see that there is some movement. And again, it's never controlled because it's the hand that creates the tension. And you cannot control what tension you put when you weave. It's just like your hand, your body with the loom. And so you never know what comes out. So if you look at the color here on the left, it's because, which is quite incredible, is when Morgan weaves, she also hand dyed her thread. And so when you will go on the website and you see different color finish, it depends of the way she's going to dye the yarn or also what type of metal she's going to use. So really, this is madly beautiful. And that really shows the power of craftsmanship. So again, for this collection, I really let the material guide me and the way it responded in my hand and the way really it shaped on its own. And I just simply followed the flow, I would say. And this collection created in collaboration with Morgan clearly would have not existed if I would have not started, if I would have started with a sketch on my computer, I would have been almost, I would have missed it. But by starting with the material, it really shifted the process and mostly the outcome. And that's what was beautiful. So it was by working with the material directly that I truly discovered its power and potential. So each piece of a Celine collection, as you can imagine and understand, it's unique. And again, is that a product? Is that a piece of art? That's beautiful because it's really blurry. It's quite good. And so again, what if the material was the starting point of your design process? And that's really a conversation that I want to start with you because it's something fascinating. So keeping that in mind, it is amazing that from the same material, we witness a remarkable array of application, from haute couture to haute design and contemporary art. Each gives new meaning to the material, turning it into something functional into something incredibly poetic and creative. So you can see that we have different application of Morgan's material. You might not know, but SWADOH offer three distinct pathway to excellence, each opening the door to unique application. In the previous slide, we mentioned lighting from the SWADOH collection. And that's actually how we began. And now we also have a fine art department dedicated to curate a one-of-a-kind piece for your project. And also for this very special project that call for something highly specific and refined, we offer a tailor-made program. It's a personalized approach to bringing your unique vision to life. And this is an example on the right that you can see here with Morgan's material. So let's explore, I told you that I love to do always a little detour with haute couture or haute jewelry. So let's continue our exploration. Olivier Roustin, the creative director of Balmain Haute Couture in Paris, is known for his deep appreciation of both material and craftsmanship, and really also the appreciation of the artisan who brings this incredible material to life. So each of his haute couture collection, each time he collaborates with different artists of master artisan, he sees them as essential collaborators. And that's one of the keys to his remarkable success. And we know that haute couture, it's a very competitive world. So not surprising that in 2023, he collaborated with Morgan for the Balmain winter collection at the Paris Design Week. So I told you that I like to go even, again, deeper with haute couture. I like that. So another great source of inspiration, Yoji Yamamoto. He's a famous Japanese fashion designer, and he once said, "The fabric tells me what it wants to be." And as you can imagine, his word really resonated in me. And because it's a reminder that great design doesn't start with a fixed idea, it starts with a conversation between the designer and the material itself. So when Yamamoto talks about fabric telling him what it wants to be, it's not just being poetic. Once again, he's sharing a philosophy. So for him, it's not forcing the fabric to fit an idea. It's about letting the fabric guide the design. It's about touch, observation, and a willingness to be led. Imagine you as design professional starting in front of a roll of fabric. Well, let's say it's a drapery, for headboard, for upholstery, or any type of project. You touch it, feel its weight. Watch how it drapes. Twist it in your hand and let it catch the light. It's like the fabric has its own personality and its own voice. And that's why we listen. So some fabric flow effortlessly, others are crisp and structured, and some catch the light and seems to glow. So each one has a story waiting to be told. They do not say the same thing. They do not speak a universal language. So for Yamamoto, this means letting go of rigid concept and allowing the fabric to shape the design. It's all about intuition, about recognizing that the material can lead you somewhere unexpected, so somewhere better than you first imagine. So let's look at this entire paragraph. So texture has a voice. A material texture is its first tone of voice. A rough raw silk might whisper of earthiness and imperfection, while a glossy satin hums with elegance. Designers listen by running their hands over it, sensing how it wants to move, fall, or resist. The fabric tells me what it wants to be. Well, spot on. And so same thing with Issey Miyake. He changed fashion by using pleats in a totally different new way, mixing structure and movement, and his design came alive with the motion of the body and the fabric. And I remember it was a revolution in the 90s. At that time, I was living in Paris, I was a student. It was everywhere. Everyone was blown away. It was so new, so different. And trust me, I don't know in the rest of the world, but in Paris, people were crazy about it. That was quite fascinating because it was a new material. It was draping so differently. It gave a shape that yeah, floating differently. It was different shape. So Miyake again didn't invent the pleat, but he totally reimagined how they were made. So he let the fabric speak first. He explored how it moved and react, letting that guide the design. And the result was, pieces that felt natural, almost like they shaped themselves. And when we look at this image here, I think it's quite inspiring. It could definitely be like lampshades, and that's quite inspiring. So the magic happens when we stop designing product and start creating stories. It begins the moment we stop trying to force our will onto the material and start listening to it instead. So now we're going to go to the second part of this presentation after this little detour in the world of haute couture and fashion. So I think the example before were very powerful. So now let's go back to the world of interior design and explore another material. If you look, at this image, what do you think it could be? Yeah, because that could be paper, that could be ceramic, porcelain or plaster. We heard this analyzed quite a bit. So now we're going to really go into learning about this material, the language that comes to it, and whether it was for the woven or this material, it's like how you can also learn their language and try to communicate better to your client, because this is so important. So this absolutely incredible material, it's fascinating, and this is one of the most fascinating actually feature on the SWADOH collection. It is called soft stone. It's created by the French artisan Émilie Gruyère from Mou Studio, and this material is surprisingly it's full of surprise. Actually, when you think about the contrast, the paradox between the two words, soft and stone, it's intriguing. At first glance, it looks like stone. It kind of have a similar texture, but when you touch it, it's different. It's flexible, almost soft. So what is it really? And I'm going to surprise maybe some of you. It's best known as silicone. So yes, silicone, it's a word that does not resonate very well to our ear, because when people think of silicone, they think of synthetic material, but it is not, it's really not. Silicone is a mineral material composed of silica combined with oxygen. So definitely not a synthetic material. So let's dive in. Silica mixed with oxygen. So silica is one of the most common minerals on Earth. You can find it, in its quartz, sand, and many types of rocks. So the soft stone has this really unique combination of softness and strength. It's flexible, as well as heat and humidity resistant, so perfect to use in restaurant, hospitality environment, but of course into residential environment as well. So even though we often think of silicone as synthetic, its roots are deeply connected to the natural world. Let's take a closer look at Emily's process. And you can see here, she's working. She starts with a soft stone paste that she gently spread out by hand. And with great care and precision, she slowly transforms it into delicate sheets. So what's really great is how Emily let the material teach her. She learned from it, she feels it, learned from the behavior, and she just, she just let it shape by itself, and she just worked with it. Actually, she formed this ultra thin, you can see on the right, particularly the ultra thin layer, even thinner than the one you can see on the left. And then she really add texture, movement, turn them into incredible, delicate sheets. So it's a very direct, hands-on, intuitive process, and the result feels like a tactile canvas. So since 2020, Mu Studio has been exploring flexible mineral polymer and developing a range of soft, subtle material, because this is two examples, and you're going to see how wide it's going to be. So she developed this new material in a way that is kind of very surprising. Again, she's using kind of a origami-like fold that you can see on the left picture. It gives structure to the drape. And sometimes she just work with this very thin layer, as I say, and they feel so light and airy, almost like they're floating in the air. And so the sensory experience is extremely important. And what makes soft stone even more special is you just not look at it, you also feel it, you touch it. And by touching the material, it's a big part of experiencing the design. There is the tactile softness that invites you in, almost like the object is meant to be discovered with your hand, as much as with your eyes. And when designers do that, when they bring that level of awareness and sensitivity to their choices, the result is something much more meaningful. The material isn't just a medium, it becomes part of the narrative. So it shapes the piece, influences the design, and brings the depth and uniqueness that simply cannot be replicated. So instead of forcing the material to fit into a preconceived idea, we let them lead. And in doing so, the final outcome becomes a reflection, not just of your vision, but of a journey we took with the material itself. You can see how beautiful this is here. Just like a dance, dancing with a material. It's just gorgeous. So that sensory connection is something Emily Grier really leans into. The material doesn't just sit in a space. It engages with a space and with you. At trade show and during meeting, it's always the same magical moment. You know, people are instantly drawn to the material. They see the way light softly diffuse through it and they're intrigued. And let me show you here, then to appreciate it better. See? So most of the time, they think it's stone or maybe porcelain, and there is a mystery about it. That tactile invitation is so powerful. So when we invite people to touch, they really hesitate. There is almost a reverence, like they're afraid they might break it. But when they do, when they extend the hand and they finally reach out, every time it's the same reaction. Wow, it's so nice. What is this? This is incredible. It's a total surprise. And they never experience that softness and that warmth and that flexibility. Really, there is something special and unique because they had a different idea in mind, and what they experience is different. It completely shifts how we experience the object. That moment of discovery, of connection, is what design is all about. Let's look one more time because it's just gorgeous. These layers are texture in a way that catches light beautifully. And it's because the material is so responsive, even the slightest breeze bring it to life. So it's incredibly poetic, like the object is breathing with the space around it. Another incredible story about that material is Emily mixes it with natural pigment, many from the heart of France. Yes, natural pigment, giving each piece its own personality and uniqueness. And it's a beautiful detail. So the pigment you see here on the right, for instance, it's a pigment she collected on a dormant volcano in France. So that's quite grounding because when you hold one of his life pictures, for instance, you hold a piece of a country, you hold a piece of France, which really bring this special connection. So it's almost a sacred connection to earth. And you can discover in the lighting collection like the Fungia or Albatros on the SWADOH website, you can see there is so many finishes and most of the pigments are natural pigment. It's a beautiful mix of creativity, skills, and nature. And what's fascinating is how the material bridges earth and silicone, combined with natural element like a volcanic pigment. And it's really become something unique, not quite a stone, not quite a fabric, what Emily calls a soft stone. And once you feel it, the name really make perfect sense. So we're going to see here a different application, how the natural stone and the soft stone complement each other, really enhancing one another through contrast and harmony. So you can see on the right, you have some furniture, here, this is a limestone, I believe. So That's quite fascinating to see how they react with the soft stone above. And then you have also beautiful countertop in this kitchen. So again, natural stone combined and mixed with soft stone. So the texture and natural qualities speaks to each other. Subtle, refined, and really again deeply connected. So it's this kind of dialogue between material that brings a space to life. Emily here, she's really fascinating because it's beautiful the relationship she has developed with the material, really intimate, and over time it's like she learned to speak its language, and in return the material keeps revealing new possibilities, like what you see here. So from the same base material, she's been able to explore completely new creative paths. The results are always unexpected, most of the time even incredibly surprising. So pieces that feels above grounded and yet remarkably innovative. Nothing you have, I mean, personally, this is something that we have never seen before, and this is what we hear a lot when we see our clients or do trade shows. So it's a true dialogue between the designer and the material. And here you can see a decorative ceiling element used into a Michelin star restaurant in France. And so for this type of project, we will be working through our tailor-made program. This is not in the collection. This is part of our tailor-made program. So this technique was first developed for the Fungia collection, which we saw earlier. And it's inspired by mushroom corals. You can see this image here, so soft sculptural forms from the sea. And Emily turned those natural shapes into a design that feels both floating and also structure. So, and one more detail, I forgot, but you know, this material's quality, the panel can also help with acoustics. So not only it's functional, but it's also beautiful. And look at what Emily came up a few months ago, and it has been showed at the design at the Milan Design Week about 1 or 2 months ago. That's really how she pushes a creative boundary. This is a mirror, a lit up mirror, and it's going to be part of a SWADOH collection this fall. I mean, don't you love it? I think it's just intriguing, and the sensory experience is so powerful in any of the product that Emily designed. It's quite intriguing. So I really invite you to explore the special connection that softstone and the hand-woven material can bring to your own project. So these materials are not just about how they look, it's about how they feel, how they respond. Softstone, just like the woven material, can offer your own clients something truly unique, a sensory experience that goes beyond the visual. Its soft tactile quality invites touch, and it really brings a warmth and originality to a space while still feeling refined and elegant. And I think for most of the interior design clients, this is what they're looking for. They're looking for something different, something personal, something meaningful and crafted. And this is this deep connection between SWADOH's artisan and their material that helps bring something special to your project. It helps tell your own story through materials, and that is something your client will feel every day in their space. So when you take the time to understand material and embrace their unique qualities, the SWADOH collection, along with fine art or tailor-made service, become a powerful resource. It helps you create work that stands out, feel personal, and truly connect with your client. And really, we are about to wrap up the presentation here. I just focus on only two, artisan and material. I could go on and go on. This is my passion and my life, truly. But beyond the beauty of all this material that we saw today, know that there are so much more that you can explore. It's important to understand the value that all this material brings, not just element of design, but really meaningful tools for you as professional. And it's all the stunning and truly unique material created by these incredible artists and artisans. They offer far more than just aesthetic. They really create emotion. They invite connection. They help you, designer, tell a richer story through your work. And for your clients, that's, I think, very powerful. Because when a space is built with intention, with respect for craftsmanship and material, it feels different. It feels different and it lives differently. And that's the difference that truly set project apart. So yeah, again, remember that SWADOH is just not a regular vendor. We exist for you, design professional, who are looking to collaborate with a creative partner who provide the options and confidence to fully bring your brilliance to life. Bring your idea to us, contact us. We might contact you as well, because we are constantly looking for like-minded people. You might hear from a phone call from me one day or someone of a team, because we like to get a conversation started. So again, if you have a project, you're already very advanced, or you don't exactly know where to start, you have a vague idea, but you think that there is something we could do together, please come to us. We love to explore with you which way will suit you best, if it's go through the collection, the fine art, or the tailor-made.